Let's take the example of a car race. Imagine you are a car race driver who's participating in a Formula One race. Exciting, right? Now let's assume that the rules of the game are as follows. At the end of every round in this car race, the bottom three cars or the last three racers in this race drop off. At every point in time, it's possible for new racers to come in, but at each round, the last three racers have to drop off and then they cannot come back and join the race. Now imagine, what would you do as a car driver, and if you have a car crew which is supporting you, what would you do? I guess you would agree with me that in a race or in a scenario like this, and every lap, you would try to go faster. And you would not just go faster because of your skill, but you would also make changes to the car. You may change the tire pressure, you may change the maneuverability, you may change the suspension, you may rev up the engine. You could add things or change your car so that it becomes more aerodynamic. Okay, so all of these changes that you will make are examples of innovations. Why would you want to do that? Because you want to be ahead of the game. That's the reason why you want to innovate. Firms who are not able to make the changes or who are not able to make commensurate changes versus their competition eventually will drop out. So those car racers would basically not be in the race in a few rounds. So that's an example of innovation and how, if you can't innovate, you drop out or get disrupted. Now assume the rules of the car race change, and they change on a regular basis. The car race won't take place only in the track. It can change to city driving. It could change to a track which is, a dirt biking track, or it could be off-road. Okay, it could be any of these. We can go even more extreme. Assume that the car racing could also take place over water bodies, lakes, rivers, ocean. Or they could involve jumping over large spaces or mountains. What would you need to do in order to remain in the race, remain a winner or among the top winners in this race? First of all, you would want to change the car into something that is much more than a car, right? While on a racetrack, all you were looking for was better control and speed, agility. Once you get into city driving, it's not about speed but more about agility and response time. Once you go, let's say, off-roading, you are now talking about special suspension. Once you get into water, you want to be able to keep afloat and get speed on water. And once it becomes, jumping over mountains, now you want your car to be able to fly. These examples, when you fundamentally transform what your car is, are examples of transformation. If you are not able to transform when the rules of the game change, you are basically not going to be in the top runners or top racers in this car. You will very soon fall into the bottom three and drop out of the race. So this is an example or an analogy which explains how, if you can't innovate or if you can't transform when the need arises, you fall out or get disrupted.